up self-esteem. Oh. Where are you? Oh, I don't want that. There we go. So welcome for week 2 of the Full Esteem Ahead mastermind session, and this week we are going to cover and deep dive into self-esteem. So what is self-esteem? It is an individual's subjective evaluation of their own worth. And self-esteem, it basically means having a good opinion of yourself, understanding your strengths and valuing yourself as a person. So imagine that if we have a healthy life with everything which has been absolutely fabulous growing up, and with the people around us giving us lots of love, lots of care, then the majority of the time we walk around with a full glass of self-esteem. We have lots of love for ourselves and we have lots of respect for ourselves. So imagine that self-esteem is like a pint glass of this loving energy. Okay, and once it's full, we value ourselves, we respect our own opinions, we are able to make decisions based on our worth and knowing our true worth and what we bring to the table. Now, self-esteem affects our relationships, it affects our friendships, it influences our choices, it can influence our decisions, and because of all those things, it can influence whether we are successful or not, how happy we are, and because of that, it can actually influence our mental health too. So if you look at people who potentially don't talk to themselves, mentally within their mind, if they're not talking to themselves, they've got negative self-talk and they're putting themselves down a lot of that could potentially be not even their own voice. It could be programmed in their mind by other people or situations throughout their life. If you take, for instance, somebody who's been unfortunate enough to be in an abusive relationship, often if that person starts with a full glass of self-esteem and an incident happens in an abusive relationship, they have enough self-worth and self-love to be able to walk away. However, if you look at the traits of somebody who is abusive, what they will do is they will hold back showing their true colors, because they know that by doing that too early, that person has so much self-esteem, they'll have the strength to leave. The only time that won't happen is if they started that relationship and already that person has a low self-esteem, a low way of looking at themselves. So if they've got somebody with lots of self-esteem, or somebody is constantly doing negative self-talk, putting themselves down, taking on board the negatives rather than the positives, not allowing compliments, what they're doing to themselves or somebody else is doing to them is they are slowly chipping away. Okay, bit by bit, day by day, week by week. And if somebody gets their self-esteem so low, then actually they can become vulnerable to the different elements and people that may take advantage of this. What am I getting at? Self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-love is very important. Okay, you are absolutely amazing. I'm telling you that now. If you're listening to me now, I love you all, and I think it is time for you guys to really begin to love yourself. But it takes some practice and it takes careful observations. So hopefully you've got a pen and paper ready. There will be a file attached to this mastermind course in week 2. But if you haven't, write this down. What in your life do you feel is stealing or taking away your self-esteem? And it's okay to be completely honest with yourself, and it can be some difficult answers, but we will talk about ways that we can work with the information that you're writing down. But actually, it's quite an eye-opener when we actually admit it and put it down there, as if to say, this is the situation which, when I'm in, makes me feel low. When I'm put in this position, it takes away my self-worth, my self-love. What is it that takes away your self-esteem? So what I want you to do now, just jot some things down, have a really deep think about it. Often, if you're not too sure what takes away your self-esteem, often if it's when you meet somebody, you go to a certain place or put in a certain situation, which when you leave, you don't feel good about yourself or you feel exhausted. That's often the time. So have a little think, write that down. And once you've written that down, we're going to go on to the next slide, which is going to have a deeper look at how we can combat this, which is called the equation. So let's start off with this equation. Let's understand, when it comes to self-esteem, a lot of the things that we're doing, the way people putting us down, and the way that they take our self-esteem is because they make us, or the situation makes us, compare ourselves to the outside world or to other people. Okay, if only we could allow ourselves to be finally happy with who we are and what we've got. Because what we could easily able to do is, this world that we are looking at is all glossy and filtered, and what the people do is are constantly looking to take other people's self-esteem to build their own. That's often with people with low self-esteem, what they can sometimes look to do is put people down in order to build their own self-esteem up. And what we end up doing is we look at these people through this filtered lens and think, if I had their waistline, I'd be happy. If I could do that many press-ups, I'd finally feel good about myself. I would then be able to wear those clothes. I would then be able to go to that party. I would then be able to go and meet somebody who would care about me or love me. Okay, but what we are doing is, as soon as we compare ourselves to somebody else, comparison is one of the biggest thieves of joy. Okay, so it starts to stop us living in our present, because we are constantly thinking, I can only be happy in the future if. But let's really take this back to the now. You can be happy now. You can have that full glass of self-esteem now. And if you allow yourself, then your goals become so much easier to achieve. It's so much easier to achieve if you let yourself be the person who you can honestly, truly believe, with a full glass of self-esteem. If you let yourself be that person now. Now, let's be completely honest with ourselves, okay? When I'm talking about this this equation, which is going to be, what in life do you have to live with? What can you give up in order for you to fill up that glass of self-esteem? I'm going to be completely honest with you. Certain things in life, we're going to say, I don't want to give all of that up to reach this goal of mine. All right, because you might think, I don't really want to give up alcohol completely. I don't really want to stop watching Netflix a couple of times a week. These are the things which actually, if we get ourselves too involved with, can chip away at who we are, self-worth. But we can start to get the balance right. It's about tweaking and learning what we're happy to give up and what we're happy to minimize. Some things we can stop, some things we can minimize. Okay, things you might be happy to stop. You might be happy to stop smoking. You might be happy to stop going to certain places where every single time you go there, you feel like rubbish when you leave. You might have a group of one group of friends who, when you see them, it feels like that glass is being filled up. But another group of friends, every time you go and see them, you go away feeling absolutely worthless about yourself. You might then decide, actually, I'm happy to give them lot up. I don't need them in my life. They don't fulfill me. It's about understanding that. Because unfortunately, there are certain things, some things we can give up and some things we can't. Some things we have to unfortunately put up with. Okay. There might be a place that you have to go to. It could be work. It could be a friend or a family that you have to see. Okay. Whatever it is, if you have to go there and that glass gets chipped down, there is a way. Okay. There is a way to still build your self-esteem up. Okay. We're going to go on to that in a moment. So first of all, when you think about the first part of what we spoke about, which is what lowers your self-esteem. When you look at that list with your pen and pad, start thinking about and write down, what are those things are you happy to give up and stop? And what one of those things out of that list would you be happy to avoid if you can, or to reduce? Okay, so have a little look and have a think. What could you give up? What could you cut out of your life which would build you back up? And what could you avoid or reduce? Okay. Once you've done that, and if you haven't got time to do that now, come back to this later and have another look. You can always come back to these lessons and have another look. So what do we do about the cases which you can't avoid, or you know, you can reduce it to a certain amount, but you have to still do these things, but it's still, every time you do it, it just takes away a bit more self-worth. The way that we continuously build up that cup of self-esteem, that self-love, is this: we work out what we do in life which makes us feel who we are, makes us feel important, makes us feel loved, makes us feel cared for. It could be a person, when you talk to them, every time you have a chat with them, you feel absolutely fantastic. It could be going for a walk to somewhere that you love going to. It could be a certain movie, could be listening to music, could be exercise. See if you can consider the natural ones which fill up your cup, rather than things which are artificial, things like drink or drugs and chemical hits. Okay, because that is not a true way of filling up your self-esteem. It's a momentarily quick fix, those are. So have a think and then scribble down what you like to do which fills up your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-love. Because now you can start to get balance. And when you start to feel good about yourself, you start to feel you can accomplish and achieve your dreams and your goals. So we're going to start thinking about how to fill up that cup from today. To get anywhere, to reach anywhere, at some point you've got to start, and the journey for this self-esteem building starts today. And well, the biggest question is to think, well, I don't actually know how full or empty my glass is. Well, here is the trick to know how full or empty your glass is. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Now, I know you can see your reflection, but what is it you see? And when you see that reflection, how do you feel? What words are you saying to yourself? Okay. Where does that feeling come from? Because like I said, self-esteem is although you're looking at the mirror, you can look at your mirror, and if you are questioning, if you are thinking about how you're looking and you're saying negative things about yourself, then that has come from somewhere. Okay, that has come from somewhere, and you don't deserve to feel that way. It's not your programming. Somebody else has programmed you to be that way, or you've done it yourself in order to protect yourself at some point. Because if you imagine this, self-esteem is very fickle when it comes to the reality that we're in with all the people, all the comparisons. If you were to wake up and you were to realize this, listen to this story. You wake up and you realize that you're the only person left on the planet. No one's around to look at you. No one can judge you. No one can ever call you anything mean. No one can ever insult you. There's no one around, just you. After a few days, a few weeks, a few months, do you think you would care what you wore outside? Do you think you'd care if your makeup was on? Do you think you'd care if you had a few extra pounds? I reckon, in all honesty, no. Because you are not feeling judged. You are not knocking that self-esteem down yourself by wondering what other people are thinking about you. So therefore, your body confidence will probably go right up because you've got no one to impress or no one thinking about how you look. You'd wear whatever you want. You'd probably wear the most comfortable, snuggly outfit you could. You'd probably walk around in your pajamas, in all honesty. It's a nice hot day. Yeah. You'd probably just put a small thin layer on and go for a little stroll. And you can see how quickly that self-esteem would go up. Body confidence would also go up. However, if you was any person left in the world, what you'd realize, which is very closely linked to this self-esteem, which we forget, is the confidence in your abilities, confident in who you are and the things that you achieve. Now, if you were the last person on earth, you'd realize just how amazing you are at surviving, at the things that you do each and every day, and the way that you, in your own mind, keep yourself going. And because of that, you'll end up thinking, right, I'm going to turn this scenario. I am going to burn energy. I'm going to start to feel good about myself. Okay, because nobody's putting me down. You'll end up probably really looking after yourself because you're the only person who is now judging yourself. Your energy levels will go up, and because your energy levels go up and you start surviving in this environment, your sense of purpose, you understand your skill set, so you start feeling good about yourself. Once you begin to do that, imagine other people start to come back into the planet. They start appearing. Now you've got a place in the world, you've got a purpose, and people respect you for who you are, for what you've done, and the things that you can now give them. Now, I know that's a strange way of thinking about it, but what I am saying to you this is that doesn't have to happen for you to feel that way now. You have a purpose, you have a skill set, you are respected, okay? And if you get yourself out in the world, and if you show people what you can do from the things that you've learned, that is where the self-esteem will increase. By looking at yourself in the mirror and think, and just know just how proud of yourself you are for all the stuff you've gone through, especially gone through shit. You've gone through a life of just, just a bumpy road, and you've got to where you are now. You should look back and go, I've got calluses on my mind going through what I've got to do. Now I can share my experiences and build somebody else up with me. A fast way of looking to build up your self-esteem is by sharing your passion and your love with somebody else so that they feel good about themselves. And honestly, it will mirror back onto you. If you have an opportunity to compliment somebody, if you have an opportunity to make someone feel good about themselves, you will start to really feel powerful and your self-worth will increase. So we're going to do a quick exercise. What I'd like you to do is get yourself nice and comfortable. Once you've done that, I want you to close your eyes, take a nice deep breath in. And when you're ready, breathe out. Get yourself nice and relaxed. I just want you to focus and lend me the use of that really powerful imagination of yours. As you do this, I just want you to imagine in your mind's eye, your eyes are closed, but in your mind's eye, in front of you is someone who loves you just the way you are. Just the way you are. And this person you love too, and you care for and you respect them, and you feel comfortable with them being there in front of you. Somebody who loves you, somebody who you love, and you're happy for them to be there. Now, I want you to imagine them looking at you. I want you to imagine that they're looking at you and imagine their eyes wide open with that expression. Love, admiration, respect, care. Just look in your mind's eye at just that show of huge amount of love that they have for you, just the way you are. And it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter to them how you changed or what you did. It's you. It's your soul. It's your heart. But you might be wondering, what is it? What is it they love? Why? What is it they love about me? Because you might have found it hard. You might have protected yourself for so long. You might have protected yourself from these feelings of self-worth and self-love and self-esteem. You might have stopped yourself from doing it. So you can see that expression, but you wonder, what is it? I want you to imagine now that you're floating out of your body and you float into theirs. And now you're looking at yourself through their eyes. And I want you to feel. I want you to feel what they're feeling as you are looking at yourself through their eyes. Feel what they're feeling and hear the words they're using in their mind and take it in. Allow it. Give yourself permission to accept it fully. Look at yourself through their eyes and give yourself permission to feel that love they have for you. Now that feeling that you're feeling being in their body, I want you to spin it faster around, give it a color. I want you to let it spread all around that feeling, all around that body. Right now, I want you to duplicate it. I want you to make it stronger, more powerful and louder and stronger. And when you're ready, I want you to duplicate it so they can still have it remaining in their body. And you're going to take loads of it back as you float out of their body, taking that love, that feeling, that admiration, that care, that respect they have for you. You're taking that feeling and you're going to float back into your body with that feeling. And when you float into your body, take a deep breath in and allow it. Allow yourself permission to every nerve, every fiber, every muscle, and every thought in your mind is affected in a positive way to make you start feeling really good about yourself. Let it go all around your body. And when you're ready, give that person you love a smile. And when you're ready, count upwards from 0 to 5 in your mind and open up your eyes. Come back around in the room that you're in. Okay, so we're getting close to the end now. You're going to start having a bit of homework. You're going to start to create a new routine. We end up believing the stories we tell ourselves. And if we tell ourselves a certain story long enough, we will believe it. If you keep on telling yourself every single time, every single day, you're overweight, you're unfit. If you keep on telling yourself every single day, you're anxious, you're shy, you're worthless, what happens is our unconscious mind will begin to believe it. We keep repeating this sentence, so it must be true. And we'll end up acting more and more like this person. We're creating this story that we keep on telling ourselves again and again and again. Because if anybody tells you, if somebody told you every single day, 3 or 4 times a day, that you was worthless, you're going to start to feel that. Okay, so don't do it to yourself. Don't tell yourself these things. I want you to listen to the stories that you're telling yourself, and I want you to change them to really powerfully, emotionally wonderful stories. I want you to tell yourself every single day that you are amazing. Okay, I want you to tell yourself every single day that you are absolutely amazing. That may be difficult, but I don't care. Do it anyway, because whether you struggle to believe it or not, you keep telling yourself, you will end up becoming congruent with that story. So I want you to write on a post-it note a message which says, I am enough, and that is more than enough. And I want you to stick it on a mirror that you can see every single day when you brush your teeth. And I want you to tell yourself that every single day, because let me tell you, you are enough. You are absolutely enough. That is something I want you to do every single day. Start telling yourself wonderful stories and listen to the ones that you tell yourself which aren't serving you anymore, and say, that is not a true story anymore. So I can start ignoring that one. The next thing I want you to do in order to increase your self-esteem is this. So you've got your one task there. You are enough. That's more than enough, and have that somewhere. The next thing I want you to do is this. Self-esteem is, a lot of it can be based on trust as well. Trust for yourself. Notice how many times you are honest with yourself. If, for instance, you was to go and see a friend at a coffee shop and they didn't arrive, even though you arranged it, they just don't turn up, no explanation, how would you feel about that friend? I'm not sure, but it probably wouldn't be a great way to have a friendship. You'd drink a lot of coffee, But you'd be doing it alone with that friend not turning up. You made an arrangement, you had a verbal agreement, they didn't turn up. You wouldn't treat a friend like that. So listen carefully to see whether you're doing it to yourself. Because if we treat ourselves like that, we're going to stop respecting and stop loving ourselves. What do I mean by that example? What I mean by this, people do this. I'm going to make sure tomorrow I'm going to get myself down the gym. How often when tomorrow arrives? Nah, I can't be bothered. Later on, I'm going to. Next week, I'll start. ... Statement. And then it comes to that time, we don't deliver. If you're treating yourself like that, you've probably just gone, oh my days, I do that. I do that. If you're doing that, it's not a nice way to treat yourself. Respect yourself. Be honest with yourself. Change the way you're planning things, such as, if I get the opportunity, I will. Or if you say I'm going to go, if I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to go to that party I'm nervous about, or I'm going to stand up and do that public speech in front of somebody. If you say you're going to do it, stick to it as best as you can. And you will start to trust yourself and believe the words you tell yourself. Really is going to jump up. That glass is going to really fill up quickly. Lastly, your last thing I'm going to do, I had a lot of work. You've got a lot of work this week. I get it. I get you got a lot of work, but trust me, if you do it, it will pay off. It will pay off. The first week, we've asked you to do a walk, 20 minutes each day. I want you to continue to do that. But now we're going to add a little bit more to that walk. For the first 5 minutes of the walk, I want you to think about only things that you're grateful for in your life and feel it. Things that you have in your life which you're grateful for now, what you've got already. Now, if you're thinking, I haven't got much to be grateful for, you have lots. It could be the air you're breathing. It could be where you're living. It could be your family. It could be friends. It could be things that you own. It could be anything. It could be that the wind is blowing. It could be that the sun's out. 5 minutes and focus on those things. I'm telling you this. If you're filling up your glass, gratitude is a powerful way of doing it quickly. You can't have anger, frustration, and fear in your glass at the same time that you have gratitude. So each time we practice filling it with that, it gets harder for it to be filled with the negative stuff. 5 minutes of gratitude. 5 minutes, okay, each one's going to be a tough one. The next 5 minutes is things that you love about yourself. Things that you love about yourself. If you're struggling with that, dig deep. You should be so grateful for who you are, what you've achieved in life, okay, what you've done for others. You've got it in there. You've just not practiced it. Have a go. And you struggle with that, contact me. Next 5 minutes, picturing your future as the you that you want to be. Picturing your future as the you that you wish to be. How you want to be, how you want to move, how you want to talk, what you want to achieve. 5 minutes of picturing your future self as to how you want to be. And the last 5 minutes is listening to some good music or having a clear mind with some silence. Whatever you want to do in that last 5 minutes, some good music on, some pumping music, or just some silence to clear your mind. Give that a go. Please continue. Growing good habits is what is really going to help you grow your self-esteem, and it sets you up for the next week, which is where we're going to start implementing healthy habits for you to change. If you can't do these things that we're doing in the first 2 weeks, you might struggle later on, because we need to really begin to discipline that mind with determination and commitment, which will then help build motivation. Until next week, I'll catch you later.